I'm gonna zoom in so y'all can see it. I'm gonna zoom in on this so y'all can see it. 2 days ago, I listened for the first 3 minutes and 19 seconds and still no content. This is the longest intro ever. 8 days ago, you can see, hey, great video, good information and to the point. You know, I want to show you guys another comment. Dude, this was so much help. Thank you. Really helpful. You know, good info. Keep up the great work. This was the other comment from a month ago. You talk too much, bro. WTF. Yo, now I want to show y'all can see my reply right here. You know what I said? I actually do appreciate this comment. I'm big on context and telling you my thoughts about the mic, but I also find myself frustrated with other video creators that do the same thing I'm doing. So my goal is to provide my viewers with the most information possible while also recognizing the need to get straight to the point. So thank you for bringing that to light. This was a video concerning the Rode Video Go Mic 2 and how to actually connect that to your iPhone. One of the more popular videos on my channel, you know what I'm saying? And so, hey, you know, there's a lot of conversation going on about creating content, and it's not to really scare you all, because I try to push a lot of people to creating content, but this is one of the things that people are afraid of, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram, you know what I'm saying? Everybody is entitled to their opinion. And this is one of those things that really was constructive, because one of the things I struggle with personally is I know my audience loves context. Do I forsake the majority of my audience, the 90 to 95% that says, hey, great video, good information, to the point, for the one person that's like, man, I wish you would get straight to it? You know, so I've always kind of battled that. And when I try to do videos that went straight to the point, they weren't really authentic, you know, and they never really performed the way that my other videos typically do. So that I really just wanted to bring that out. Number one, to inspire you to just not be afraid of the people's faces. If we were in church, you know, there's scripture that justifies that, but don't be afraid of people's faces. And even though you can't see the faces, these are the things that keep people from creating. One thing I say, if you're not doing it wrong, you're not doing it right, because it's not meant for you to be perfect. It's just meant for you to show up and be present. So you take that. If you're not, you know, if you're not doing it wrong, you're not doing it right, because no matter how great you get, there's still always an opportunity for you to improve. But let's get to this third thing. Let's get to the reason why we are all here. I'm going to play this video real quick, and then we're going to get to the conversation for why you actually came in. Should you be creating content for yourself, or should you be creating content for your audience?
Do we create for ourselves, or do we create for our audience?
The audience comes last. And the audience comes last, not because I don't care about them or I don't like the audience. In service to the audience, they have to come last. Yeah. The thing that the audience wants is the best thing they can get.
The conversation was really about how artists are so attached to other people's opinion and what they're going to think about the art, that the art becomes watered down. And essentially artists, creators, right? It's a very similar world.
If you are only creating for others, it's going to create some type of burnout, whether it's like depletion burnout or like alignment burnout.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just talked about this last week if you were on the show Monday, and this really lit a fire into me. And, you know, I had my thoughts or whatever, but I thought it would only be right to have a conversation with somebody we call the content queen herself. We have none other than the content queen herself. Miss Nikki Saunders is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Nikki, what's good with you?
What's poppin'? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm glad to have you on. You out here starting trouble. You and Moose out here starting trouble in the content streets. When I saw the post, and you know, everybody had, you know, things to kind of say. But this is a conversation that I've been having a lot lately. And I think this kind of lends back to the previous thing I was talking about, as far as, you know, we see so many people quitting. That's the biggest. I don't even. It's like it's trendy to quit right now. You know, some of the biggest creators in the world are quitting, and I think to that point, we see a lot of people pivoting. And Marquez Brownlee has come out and said, "Hey, I'm here to stay. You know, these are the things I'm doing, and I recommend you can do to kind of stay level set." Last week we talked about. I told people, I said I would not be shocked or surprised if I saw Think Media in the next 3, and I said 3 to 5. I don't know the way things are going. I see them pivoting in a way where it's like what's next? You know, like, do I still want to do this? You know, Omar is kind of doing, you know, he's still connected, but he's doing his own thing. Sean is kind of, you know, so it's like, you know, it's like, man, what is going on? And then we just see other people that's like, yo, I've been doing this for like 10 years and people have pushed us to the limits as it relates to expectations. And so I just wanted to get, you know, have a conversation with you about what came first, either the chicken or the egg. You know, you are the content queen. And I did get a chance to listen, you know, to the podcast, you know, with you and Moose and get some insight on how you all felt about it. But I want to really hear your opinion. Like, where do you fall at in this conversation? Like, is it because you all talked about, are you creating content for the business? You know, are you in the business of creating content? Or are you creating content, you know, basically, are you the business and creating content for yourself? So I really wanted my audience to get a chance to kind of hear from you and your position on it.
So just like how I said in the podcast, I was kind of torn, right?
Right.
I'm a servant at heart. So I'm always going to go for the audience first.
Right.
I believe, and I put it on Threads earlier where I said, when you're starting out, as like your personal brand creator, whatever you want to categorize yourself as, no one cares about you, right?
Please say that.
And so, oh, sure, no one cares about you. We all we care about is the value that you are going to give us. So with that, for me to just start with what I want to create, and then I know that's going to be the extremely long road where we're always, regardless of the advice that we're given, don't compare, blah, 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 right? It's hard not to look at numbers. It's hard not to look at other people, some of your peers, and being like, you know what? We started at the same time.
Right.
Like, really, it's not even, I'm not even looking at it from those people who've been here doing it 6, 7, 8 years. That's delusional. If I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to start and I'm going to go viral, and that's just. But to look at it from a standpoint of, I'm going to start with just what I want to do, and then that's it. You're not thinking business wise.
Right.
You're not thinking monetization wise.
Right.
It's not an impossible road, but it's a longer road. So go ahead.
No, I was going to say, would you say like I always refer to my grandmother. My grandmother, I love older people, but my grandmother would say, you know, start out like you can hold out. Just some real country, you know, phrase. Shout out to the 252, all my people watching from back home. And I think, again, because to the point of what you're saying, in the same respect that people don't really care, you know, who we are, I think whether it's due to imposter syndrome or just because, you know, you all talked about strategies and we had this conversation about systems. People saw Cat Williams' interview with Uncle Shane, was like, I'm starting the podcast tomorrow. And it's like, great, I'm glad, you know, but you know, it's more simple than just, you know, you going to Best Buy, buying a Blue Yeti, you know, and you know, using your phone and using the webcam and think I'm just gonna start running my mouth. And, you know, because there are statistics that show, even from a podcasting standpoint, most podcasts don't last either beyond the 3rd or the 7th episode, you know, because it's like, you know, because people don't start out thinking the long haul. And I have that conversation a lot about branding. Like, people, they want to be hot. They want to make it pop for the moment, but it's like people don't want to be Conrad Hilton anymore. You know, people don't want to be, you know, Steve Jobs and Tim Cook and these people and Zuck and even Elon, to this point where it's like 100 years from now, if the world is even in existence, people are still going to be talking about NICKY and Moose. You know, it's like, yo, there was a time that they were here and the content that they dropped, they absolutely killed it. People just really everybody's for virality and they want to go viral in the moment. So when they start, people don't care, and then they don't really care about the long haul of the people. Do you feel that people are in it for the wrong reasons, or we just don't have a clue about what's the best way to really go about it?
I think it's both.
Okay.
I think it's both. So no one taught us what to do on social media, right?
That's good. Right.
So 9 out of 10 times we're getting on social media because we're seeing everybody get on social media. We think that's the thing to do, right? So whether you're going in more on just a personal consumer side, you're just getting on just to get on. If you're going on from a business side, you're going on certain platforms because you see other people get on those platforms
Facts.
and be successful.
Right.
So not necessarily you're coming in with a strategy of, okay, I have the goal of brand awareness, conversions, audience retention. I got this business, so I'm going to start off with a personal brand and I'm going to create content on these different platforms. No one's coming in like that. Rarely.
Right.
I'm not saying
Right.
no one.
Right.
Rarely. So we don't necessarily know what we're getting into. We don't know how to start. But also, at the same time, we look at other people and we copy, right? So when we copy, we still don't know what we're coming in for. We're now getting what their goal is and creating it for us when that's not necessarily our purpose on these platforms.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's because one of the things I always say is never use somebody else's finish line to determine how you start. And so we always judge ourselves against where other people are, where they are in the race. But at the same time, it's like Riverside put out a great video today. And one of the things he was talking about in line of this conversation is, you know, being realistic as far as with the pace that you set for yourself. Because it's like, yeah, I want the exposure NICKY has. I want the exposure that a lot of my other peers have. And I want to be with y'all at CES, and I want to be like Doc and be at PodFest and all these different types of things. But everybody doesn't necessarily want to do the work, you know, and do everything that's ugly, nasty that people don't see to build a brand to get to that point. You know, because it's like, yo, I want to be an overnight sensation, you know, and if I just go viral 1 or 2 times, you know, they think, you know, there's sustainability in that. But you said something important, even about just because we do see a lot of that where people, it used to be imitation with the slightest form of flattery. And it's like you can be inspired by people, but now you literally see folks just ripping off people. It's like, oh, that's such a style, or that's, you know, or
Yeah, that's facts.
You know, and it's like people are afraid. You know, we've lost the sense of being authentic. You know, just like you said, we didn't learn how to, you know, exist in this social media world. Nobody taught us that. We had to learn ourselves. But now I don't know if it's a matter of attrition, if we're literally getting that older, and I don't want to blame, you know, like the quote unquote, I sound old by saying the new generation, but it's like there's a lack of authenticity. You know, even from a music standpoint, it's like, bro, like all you hear is saying is like, bring back the 90s and like the early 2000s, you know, because it's like, where's the authenticity at in the content that's being created today, which I think has pushed a lot of creators to be like, I've reached that authenticity get cap. Like there's nothing else for me to do, you know, so I gotta go.
Yeah, so it goes back to, once again, I don't come on these platforms knowing what I'm supposed to do. So your identity looks good on me, right? The success that you have, the look that you have with your videos, things like that, that's what I want. So good people, right, will create the foundation, meaning a good book to read is Steal Like an Artist, right? I may still be inspired by your setup. And apologize because my dog is going
Nah,
crazy
nah, you
underneath me.
good.
So
You good.
if you see me look down and all this stuff, it's because my dog is trying to eat my cable.
You good.
So I may look at your stuff and start there.
Mhm.
Good people are going to build off of it. So I start with maybe the red and the blue in the background, but then I may add some yellow. I may have a different kind of vibe. I may
Right.
have a different mic. I'll look at other different creators and put it in a pot and figure out my own style.
Right.
What people tend to do is get lazy. And so they see a style, they get a result that they never did before, and they stay there. Not thinking, as for me, I'm never necessarily going to go past the originator's results. I may not ever go and have somebody say, that's a NICKY's video, if I only stay in the foundation.
Okay.
But for me, I'll say me, because not everybody's like this. For me, I'm not here to have the same results as other people. So I could be inspired, but I can't stay in that one place. So there's multiple brands, multiple pieces of content, multiple books, multiple things that I'm listening to, reading, watching to have that NICKY style, to have the success that I'm supposed to have. But we look at, okay, 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures. I want to get that. I'm going to follow this exact blueprint. And I look exactly like that person. And some people are okay with that. Now, it may not bug them. Yo, you look exactly like this. Or I see the Gary Vee style, or I see the Alex Hormozy style.
right,
It's all
right,
over.
right,
You know what I mean? Like some
right.
people are okay with that because they can't think what's next
Right.
because they didn't come with a purpose. You feel what I'm saying?
No, that's real.
It takes a moment to sit down and be like, why am I really here? How do I show up naturally? Some people are creating videos and have no business creating videos. Some people are creating tweets and threads and have no business doing that.
Facts.
You know, so
Facts.
but it's what's happening right now. It's trending. And when you get caught up in the trends, you're going to only chase that and not really have an identity. So yeah, I'll end it with that. I want to have a conversation because I can go.
Nah, you good. No, absolutely. I feel you. Do you feel like, because we were having this conversation last week, and like you said, I can talk about this all day. I'm of the mindset, and again, I don't know. Like I tell people, treat your content. You have to start thinking like it's a business. And the reason is, I think it's because, number one, it gives you a different level of expectation for yourself. It requires a different level of discipline. You start thinking about sustainability. You start thinking about growth in a different way. You start thinking about planning and actually putting systems in place and having a strategy to how you approach, instead of just saying, I'm gonna go live. You know, it's like, yeah, we can do that. Some people just have the ability to turn on the camera, go live and engage and just, they just know how to work the mic, work the camera. There are the rest of us that, we need to run a show and we need to outline, and we just need to kind of know, okay, what's my roadmap? Where am I going? I always talk about, there's an audience that's assigned to your voice, but the difficulty we have is how to find that audience, because everybody is like, okay, I want to do, but I don't know what to talk about. And it's always baffling to me when I hear people say, I'm like, so why do you want to start a podcast? Like, why do you want to start a YouTube channel? Like, and the first thing you say is, I don't, this is going back to what you just said. I don't know what to talk about. So I'm like, so what's your why? Like, why do you really want to do it? Like one of the most famous TED Talk speeches by Simon Sinek is like going back, like, what's your why? It's like, so why do you really want to do this? You want to do this, so you can get 50 million views, like Club Shay Shay, you know what I'm saying? Or you can do this huge this press release prank like Breakfast Club did, you know, with Just Hilarious. You know what I'm saying? Not getting the hosting job, you know, 3 days ago, and then today, you know, her being
I
announced.
wrote a whole thread about that. Whole thread.
Like
I'm
that
really
joint,
going live about it.
you know what I'm saying? That joint, it was crazy. And so it's like people are chasing that, and it makes it difficult because going back to the conversation you and Moose were having about, are you in the business of creating content? And I think one of my biggest battles that I had over the past several years was this whole consistency demon. Because it's like, yo, it's like, do I create for my audience? Like, do I show up live here every Monday, or do I go do a gig? You know what I'm saying? Do I show up? So it's like, you know, I got to a place in life where it's like, yo, I've literally showed up for everybody. Like, I have given, and some of the people closest to me didn't understand. I'm like, yo, I don't have nothing else. Like, I don't have nothing. And I'm not in a position where, not that I don't owe you an explanation and not that you don't deserve an explanation. I just don't have nothing to give you. Like, I've given my toenails. I don't have nothing left. You know, and so when you I started off, you know, the night talking about streamlining. When you get back to a place of just being centered and being grounded and say, okay, I love doing this for these particular reasons, and I know I provide value to the people that watch and listen to me, and they are rewarded. You know, I'm rewarded by showing up for them and them showing up for me. And I try to, but there's a fine line, that balance, because, you know, I've tried this before. I've seen it before in private communities, groups, this, that, and the third. And I want you to kind of touch on this because I know you do a lot just outside of what we're talking about now. You get burned out just trying to give yourself to your audience completely, because I can make a video right now about how to go live on ECAMM. There are 10 million other videos out there, but I can make a video right now. I can publish this. I'm going to get 10,000 questions about micro things. So not the overarching thing of me just showing you, hey, this is ECAMM. Well, how did you, you know, get that lower third to automate, you know, when you went to that particular scene, or what is that called that you have your logo at the top? How are you and NICKY on at the, you know, on the screen at the same time? And now we are in the business of creating content somewhat to this. My content now has opened up a door for me to be in business with other people. But where do you draw the line between this, like, or does that go back to the conversation of, hey man, well, you didn't, let's just be honest, you really didn't, you know, evaluate this the right way, and you didn't set the proper expectations, so you didn't put the systems in place to kind of help you when that windfall came in? Or is there really a conversation that people are realistic about, hey man, I'm burned out, I'm tired, like I love helping people, but I don't really want to do this no more. And you do a lot. Like, you do a lot probably that you don't even talk about, that we don't know you do. So how do you find the mental capacity to be here, be with the dog right now, you know, who's chilling, having a good time, you know,
and the problems I'm having. You see that? I'm praising God that you were talking this much.
Oh, I see you. I got you. You know, one thing I can do is talk, you know, so, but how do you find, because I think that's what a lot of people want to know. A lot of people are like, bro, I'm tired. You know, we had that conversation last week, and it's like, yo, how do you prevent, or how do you at least mitigate? Because you're supposed to be tired. You're a human. You can only do so much. But it's like, how do we prevent being all of these people who are like, I'm walking away? You know, to feel like there's no more room or opportunity for them to serve these people that are in front of us.
There has to be a balance of you, right? So I think you've seen it, and you're kind of hinted to it. There's a whole bunch of YouTubers, just creators in general, that's just quitting, right? And one of them said it best, that even though this is kind of like a dream job to take your passion and monetize it, it's still a job, right? And if you don't know how to balance, it's going to drain you, and it's going to not be fun like anything else. We could look at it from any type of 9-to-5 job that we've ever tried, and we're super excited in the beginning. Yo, this is what I want.
Right.
Come to find out, it really isn't, and you kind of hate it.
Facts.
Right? So you have to prevent that hating stage, but you have to be realistic with what gets you there. right?
Okay.
And this is where self-awareness comes into play. It has nothing to do with creating content, algorithm, monetization systems, all that. It has everything to do with understanding your triggers and what brings you energy and what doesn't bring you energy. Because a lot of people are doing things that actually drains their energy. Just because you are, let's say, a creator doesn't necessarily mean you like the social media side of posting and figuring out the strategy of it
Facts.
and dealing with the metrics of that, right?
Facts.
Some people don't want to think about all the different 17 different ways you have to promote your content just to be seen. There's things that we don't put an account for, that with any type of, how do I put it? Any type of dream job, any type of thing that we love to do, or that we were called to do, there's a big picture, but there's all these little things that we have to do. And we have to be either okay with it or we have to delegate that thing. Now, with the delegation, it could go more towards just, AI systems in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't necessarily have to be a person. For those people who are like, yo, I ain't ready to hire nobody, da 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 da.
Right.
Got it, right?
Right.
But there are a lot of things you should be taking inventory of the tasks that you do when it comes to building a brand, when it comes to starting a new YouTube channel, doing a live, whatever it is. Everything has a couple of tasks that you could care less for.
Facts.
How are you getting that out of your, out of your vibe? And if you don't, and you do it for so long, it's going to drain you. And
Facts.
as you get bigger, there's going to just be more tasks that, one, you weren't even ready for. What is being shown right now with, let's say, Think Media, with even things with Mr. Beast, have never been done before.
Facts.
So there's going to be random things that you're like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think
Right.
about that. Hold on.
Right.
I gotta worry about this. I gotta think about it. My email is disgusting. My DMs are disgusting. Did I account for that? Absolutely not.
Right.
But the admin side drains me. So what do? I get an admin person, right? Get a virtual assistant.
Right.
So plus, I'm not a big person, though some people are going to be like, yo, because I'm a night owl. So I'll go to sleep 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. I get 6, 7 hours of sleep every single day. I believe in rest.
Right.
You feel me? I go downstairs right before this. I was meditating. Like, what are you doing for a recharge? Do you have? I have a recharge station. Do you have a recharge station?
That's real.
That allows you to just chill out for a bit, calm down, maybe stop your mind from thinking, or have dedicated space to have your mind think. Because we as creators will get so much into do that we're not even thinking about the new ideas to do.
Facts.
So there's ideas, there's planning and execution. We've been so much on the execution side of the old ideas that we've been running on that we don't even have time to think of something new.
Facts.
So it all goes towards balance, and dogs, clearly.
Clearly, you're right.
Balance, but prime example, the littlest things will create balance. I got a dog because I was working too much. So this thing right here that I love so much, but can cause headaches and almost break my camera, he makes me stop. On times I don't necessarily want to stop, but clearly need to.
Gotcha. So you took on the responsibility to help you with responsibility. That's a crazy way to look at that. Yeah.
I'm a workaholic. He makes me. He wants to say hi. Okay, you want to say? Okay. Yep. All right. He wanted to make his debut because he wanted. I was talking about him,
It's
but
all good.
you have to create different systems. Even though this is not the per se system, this is my system to stop
Got you.
and
That's
just
good.
walk away for a minute.
That's good. In addition to that, because you kind of hinted, and I won't keep you up for a little bit longer. You kind of hinted on just systems and putting things in place and delegating. How did you get so like engrafted in AI? Because there are people that talk about AI. It's a lot of people that talk about AI. I mean, it's the hottest thing, but you are one of the few people that literally are like, you're in it. Like there's AI and then it's like, okay, who do I know? There's Nikki. Like where did that even come from? Did that come from the need to just, kind of put some systems in place or offload things? Or, did you go to a secret meeting, and find out what was going to be going on and you got it early, on the floor, cause I mean, like you are the AI queen, right? Especially for content creators, like literally anything that I could think of that it's like, yo, I don't feel like cutting up this, and making 1,000.
Oh, I can't hear you. Where'd you go? Say something.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. There we go.
Okay.
There we
Okay.
go.
Now, something weird happened. Yeah, but how did you just get so like involved in the world of AI? Like, where did that come from?
So I'm so involved in the world of content creation that I try to find anything that will help people ease that like struggle, right? AI came along and what people were using it for was cool. And then when I realized that people were using it for like emails and blogs, I said, oh, this could be used for other, if it can use for that, that's content.
Right.
So let's figure out how to make it into other things. And then, once they saw that it was starting to be a lucrative trend, people were making different tools for anything. So my goal was find only the things that have to deal with content. So you're not going to hear me talk a lot about other AI products like
Right.
things to create sales email and all that. That's not going to be what I do. I'm going to literally stay within my genius of creating content
Smart.
and helping others create content. And how do I utilize AI and use it myself? Okay. Because there are a lot of people right now that, and some of them I'm friends with, so there's no shade, that will say all the AI tools and have not used none of them.
That's why I'm like, you're literally using them.
Yeah, I can't do that. Like, granted, I have to remember to cancel some of these subscriptions because I literally will jump into the subscription part, try it out the free version, because what I want to make sure is that regardless if you see my free content, go into my community, whatever it is, you are leaving with value of, should
Right.
I use this tool? Should I even try it? Is it for me in some way, shape, or form?
Right.
So it all had to do with still closing the gap of regular smegular people taking their ideas and turning it visual.
Okay.
Now, what are all the tools that will allow you to do that? Is starting to become way more easier. So before it was extremely hard to create content. Now with AI, now with our favorite tools now adding AI features, it is making it a lot easier to show up on social media to the point where, okay, what else do I do?
Right. That's dope.
So.
And because so many people were afraid, like, I think especially like this was a conversation in like graphic design circles. Like, yo, I'm gonna get replaced by Mid-Journey. It's like, nah, you better learn. You better be on either. You better be on the coding side of the fence to learn how to program and come up with the prompts and be a developer on the software side, or you got to realize that it's like, yo, there's still a human touch that is going to be required, because AI has gotten so good to the point now. Let's just say let's just look at it from a job search standpoint. Like, the system can easily tell. It's like, bro, you just copied and pasted from ChatGPT, or whatever. Instead of like saying, hey, okay, this is good, but how do I still build this, around me? And I'm in it where it's like, hey, really just from a content, generation, Marshall last week, Marshall Fox, I got a chance to check out, shout out to bro, just creating your own AI. So not just using everybody else's AI tools, but I think it's Mindsight, if I'm not mistaken, but being able to go in and create your own AI. So he was live. I was working on a content generation tool, just really just seeing, okay, it's like, okay, let's go ahead and plan out this content calendar, whether it's for the next quarter, the next 6 months, the next 12 months or whatever. And then still being able to go through that to say, okay, that's great. But then going back to the original conversation, that's really not going to serve my audience. Like you said, I'm not going to talk about emails, sales letters, and all those, because that's not me. I have somebody, either I'm going to let AI do that, or I have somebody else that can handle that for me. But I did just want to say I appreciate the fact that you actually do use the AI that you talk about, because like you said, it's the same thing with product reviews. Like, I hate people that just like, I would love to be a Sony artisan one day, but not for the standpoint just for everybody to put out a video at the same time just to say these are all the features. Nobody, like, I can read that, like, I know, but how did this actually affect me? Like, if I'm a photographer, how do I use this? If I'm a filmmaker, how do I use this? Like, why do I care about a universal shutter? Does that apply? 8K universal shutter, like, does that apply to me? So the camera is dope, but do I need to buy that? And so the fact that, you are spending all of that money, because we're not even going to talk about subscriptions. Like, it's like subscriptions.
Because those $10 add up. The $10, $20, some are 50. And then they do the 14 day for free, and then you forget it's 14 days.
You forget. Yeah. I appreciate the companies that will be nice enough to actually send you a reminder, because again, like you said, I'm nowhere near as busy as a person like you, but when you're busy, you're busy. Busy is subjective to the life you live. And like you said, when you're getting 10,000 emails a day, and some people literally are probably getting it, in the thousands of emails because you're just subscribed to that many things. It's like, bro, I'm not gonna see that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all tell me everything else. Like, notify me. It's like, hey, bro, you got 1 day left. Or now what I have to do is when I sign up for a trial, I literally have to go put it on the calendar. Like, yo, like, so I get an alarm, or, hey, remember, cancel this. Because it's like, honestly, like, you're going to forget. If it's out of sight, if it's out of mind, you're going to forget. But, yeah, man, that's dope. I would encourage everybody that's watching, like I said, if you're in the content creation space, if you're that person that's trying to figure out, okay, where do I get started? Or if you have already started, and based on the conversation we just had where you're trying to figure out, okay, how can I take some of this off of me? How can I make this easier? How can I say, man, I may not have the budget to go hire an editor to take this macro long form piece of content, cut it down into bite-sized chunks. So now I can put this all over social media. Where can I find a tool, whether it's free or paid, but that's at my budget, point where I can say, hey, man, I could let somebody else do the work and have somebody that has done it. Because the one thing we always say, people buy people. People don't buy products. People buy people. You always go look to see, yo, have you used this? Like, let me go see. Like, there's certain people I know where if I'm interested in something, I can either reach out to directly, or I can hop on YouTube or something real quick. But I bet you they got a video about this. And so I love that. We're getting ready to wrap up. Like I said, I ain't trying to keep nobody longer than an hour, but I know you spoke at CES. How was that experience?
Oh, it was amazing. Like, first, I ain't never been to a CES ever, right? So the overwhelming of tech everywhere was crazy, but the topic that I spoke about was like maximizing social media for startups, and just
Okay.
it's crazy because the what we feel is normal as far as like everybody's on social media,
Right.
everybody's promoting, everybody
Right.
may just have a struggle of how to grow. Some people it's different for everybody,
Right. Facts.
right? Even from an AI standpoint, like I found there was a stat that was like only 11% of people are using AI. So though we may hear about it all the time and that whole nine, not everybody's using it.
Right.
So it's cool to go into those different areas and just find out where everybody else is at, because it
Mm-hmm.
almost makes you feel normal. Like it's like, oh, okay, like you have the same problems. You didn't know about this. You didn't know about that. So yes, he has from a speaking standpoint was really dope. From a techie standpoint, they had every car, every AI thing, every solar situation.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was I need to go again, but just more on a like a consumer side. Let me
Gotcha.
just enjoy the situation.
Gotcha. It's like Tony Sparks Expo out there. That's what I
Yeah, yeah,
hear.
yeah,
And it
yeah.
comes around so quick because like it's like I've been dying to get a chance to go, and I'm like, once again, I gotta say, okay, I got a plan for next January right now, because by the time July, August, September gets here, it's out of sight, out of mind. You be like, dang, CES happened already. It's like, dang, okay, all right, you know
Facts.
what's going on. But nah, that's dope. That's dope. I got a chance to see just everybody who's anybody that's out there, and before we get ready to go, let everybody, like I said, you got 1,000 different things. You are content queen of the
Thank
universe.
you.
You know what I'm saying right now, and we definitely appreciate you in this space. But anything you got coming up, anything you want to promote? I mean, I know you got the podcast with you and Moose that's
Yep.
always jumping off. But as far as your
Yep.
community, anything you want to say to the people?
So just like you said, Nikki and Moose, the number one personal branding podcast out there, personal branding and business. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Then of course I got my private community, Deeper Than the Brand. So we take, just like how I said earlier, regular smegular people and try to figure it out together as far as this content stuff, this AI stuff, branding, building a community, monetizing. Like that's the whole vibe, and the whole purpose of the community is for us not to be alone through
Mm-hmm.
it. There's a lot of information, but how are we guided through it? And how do we actually execute and have the accountability? So that's Deeper Than the Brand. I'm speaking at Social Media Marketing World
Okay.
in February.
Okay.
So that's going to be a vibe. And yeah, that's it. Oh, my YouTube channel, my personal YouTube channel. I'm starting that out. You feel me?
I seen
So
that.
yeah, I'm trying over here. I was like, yo, it's time to take the long form a little bit serious. I've been doing the
Mm-hmm.
short form for so long. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, let me get into the long form situation. Still trying to get my bearings with that. But it's a journey.
Yeah.
You know the vibes.
Yeah, it's
YouTube is a
different.
journey. YouTube will
It's
humble you too.
real quick. I don't know if you was in the green room when I was going through that spiel, but when I came across that comment the other day, it was like, bro, like you talk too much.
Yeah,
Like
because
WT.
between YouTube and TikTok will attract the most craziest people. It's like the other platforms are meant for your audience.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube and TikTok will put you out to the wolves
So, facts.
and then see if there's anybody who likes you.
Facts.
It's the craziest thing. When I started
Facts.
doing Nikki and Moose, we had the most craziest comments. And I was like, I'm not used to this. I'm too New
Right.
York for this. This
Right.
is not
Right.
gonna work out right.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but I've learned to I learned to have this rule of I gotta let it go unless I have time.
Oh, that's
Right?
good. I
If
always
I have
listen.
time, I will educate you.
Facts.
However, if I don't, like there was one clip on Nikki and Moose where I talked about Jordans, right? Like I bought 2 Jordans. They clipped it up. Of course, we're in clip, you know, a clip universe right now.
Right.
And people roasted me. Like roasted. You are hype beast. How do you not? You didn't read. And it was hundreds of comments.
Wow.
I said, oh, y'all don't know me. This is cool. I'm fine with this. Bring the attention. I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
Facts.
I made an honest mistake. I bought 2 that I didn't know. Great. I was more concerned about one. And yeah, they roasted me. I said, this is not, this almost may not be for me. This
And people feel empowered when they're not in front of your face. You know, that's the thing. And I think the good thing for me is I was a musician. And so one of my biggest regrets, but one of the things I appreciated, I think like when I was in school, this was around about 06, 07. We were in YouTube heavy. And so in the musician space, you know, you get humbled real fast, especially if you think you nice. Nah, especially if you're a drummer. And YouTube is still, YouTube, Instagram, social is still kind of like that, but it's nowhere near what it was at the time. And man, like it would make you, you know, literally want to throw hands with people. But luckily having that experience through that, because I haven't gotten anything compared to some of the comments I got regarding like playing drums. And I know I have peers that I'm sitting here like, yeah, I ain't playing no more. I was all right. I don't want no slouch, you know. I'm like, I can hold my own, period. I know who I am and who I'm not, but I'm like, bro, y'all not about to disrespect me like this. Like, no, like, and I work, and I work in IT. I will search, backlog your IP address and pull up on you real fast. I think that's the thing people don't know. I'll be like, now some folks I let live. A lot of people, I'm like, y'all do know I'm a real techie, right? Like,
I really do this in real life.
But I really, there are ways I can find you. But, you know, we ain't gonna put that out there because I don't need no demonetization strikes and nobody coming at me sideways or nothing crazy. But it's like, no, I can really find you. But yeah, it'll humble you real quick. And it's just an opportunity. Like the last comment I was talking about, I was like, bro, like real talk, I appreciate it. Because this is something that I won't say battling with. I know what I'm gonna do at the end of the day, but it's definitely something I'm keeping in mind. But I'm like, bro, you one out of the 1,000 comments that's like, okay, if 999 people say great job and one person says you suck, we live in a society now, sad to say, people are gonna lose their minds over the one you suck. And it's like, yo, like 999 people said you were great. Like, what's going on? You know, is that magnified? Is that magnified? But Nikki, listen, I appreciate you so much. Like I said, it's 8:09. I'm not gonna hold you. Thank you for everything, you know what I'm saying, you're doing and continuing to do. Y'all, I appreciate y'all coming through tonight. Y'all already know what to do. Go subscribe to her channel, Nikki Saunders. Also go check out, you know what I'm saying, Nikki and Moose the podcast. It really is like that. But some of y'all, I can tell you don't listen to podcasts. I can tell. Hey, we ain't gonna talk about that. But I can tell. Now I'm not gonna hold people for not reading, you know, but I'm like, if you're not going to read in 2024, at least listen, you know, at least listen to something. And I can tell, like, some of y'all don't be abreast on things like you should be. But that's neither here nor there, because I appreciate you being here and listening to me talk. But like I said, we will be back here next Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Y'all already know what it is. Feel free, like I said, if this is your first time coming by, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and definitely hit the bell so you can be notified every single time we drop new content to the channel. But until next time, I'll holler at y'all. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Y'all have a good night. Be easy.